This is the Daring Well podcast. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, my dear. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Daring Well podcast. If this is your first time, I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. In today's episode, we're leaning into self-love. While the journey to embrace self-love and prioritize self-love can be super challenging, it can also be one of the most rewarding ways to foster healthy relationships with others. Today, we're going to explore what self-love really means, the barriers of why self-love is so difficult to practice on a consistent basis, and we're going to learn some new ways so that we can practice making self-love a healthy part of our daily rhythms. So lean in as we continue this wellness journey of living a fuller, healthier, and happier life. Before we talk about what self-love is, let's talk about what self-love is not. So let's take a moment just to pause and just to reflect. So when you think about self-love, what comes to mind? Do you feel a flood of guilt? Do you battle with the idea of feeling unworthy of love and care? As you pause to take a moment to be honest with yourself, the answer is going to help to shed some light and to reveal where you really are on your self-love journey. The truth is, until we take our last breath here on this earth, we are never going to reach that destination of completion or mastery with our self-love journey. I firmly believe this because each stage of our life, it brings new challenges with how we learn and how we learn to prioritize our needs in light of our relationships and all the many demands on our time and energy. Many confuse self-love, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about what self-love is not. Self-love doesn't fear being vulnerable. Loving yourself and loving others truly requires vulnerability. If you desire healthy relationships, it requires you to be vulnerable. So not oversharing, but being open in safe and trusting relationships. First and foremost with yourself, and then to others. It means acknowledging all of your imperfections, your wounds, and your deepest fears. This at first can feel really scary because it forces us to confront the parts of ourselves that we would rather just try to mask or just try to hide. Vulnerability, it's uncomfortable. If you're being honest with yourself, that's why many people choose to avoid it. And as Dr. Brené Brown says, we self-protect and we armor up. And that doesn't really work. It just keeps us in a cycle of self-doubt, avoidance, instead of being open and free. Self-love is not about being selfish. Many people believe that prioritizing yourself also means disregarding others. And that's further from the truth. In reality, practicing self-love, it increases your ability to care for others because it helps you to set healthy boundaries and avoid the risk of sheer exhaustion and sheer burnout. Sometimes we fear that prioritizing our own needs will make others think that we are selfish or that we're uncaring. But just remember, my friend, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Okay. Self-love is not about being perfect or comparing yourself. Some people think that self-love means loving every part of yourself all the time. Well, true self-love, it involves accepting yourself fully and completely. All of your flaws, all of your imperfections, and recognizing that you are worthy despite all of that. Not feeling worthy and falling into the comparison trap, it's easy to get sucked into. With social media and all the social pressures, the truth is you'll never measure up to others' standards and others' expectations. You'll just be left feeling like you're just not enough. Whether it's not being successful enough, attractive enough, smart enough, strong enough, financial enough, or happy enough, comparison just doesn't stop. And it doesn't add any value to your life, but it takes away from your identity and your core sense of self. Self-love does not mean indulging in every desire. So while treating yourself is part of self-care, self-love also includes making tough decisions that do support your long-term health, your long-term growth, and even if it means delaying instant gratification. And sometimes that's super hard. Instead, focus on the bigger goal. So growth, healing, holistic wellness, and wholeness. Self-love is not just about self-care routines. So while spa days, getting massages, getting your hair and your nails done, and all things relaxation, treating yourself are aspects of self-love, but it's not the end all to be all. It's also about nurturing your overall well-being, including your emotional well-being. Self-love is not about being arrogant, narcissistic, or overly confident. This is a myth that confuses self-love with selfishness or just being vain. Self-love is about maintaining a healthy relationship with yourself, while the opposite is an excessive focus on self and shows up as a lack of empathy for others. It also does not mask itself as overly confident with an incorrect view of our abilities, our worth, and even our capacity to experience true love and true happiness. Self-love does not mean being self-sufficient or wearing "I'm the strong one" as a badge of honor. Some believe that if you love yourself, you shouldn't need help from others. But in reality, self-love includes knowing when to seek support and when to ask for help, and nurturing relationships that do truly uplift you. Self-love is not easy. If you're doing it right, self-love is super hard, and sometimes it's simply inconvenient. It's often assumed that self-love comes naturally, but for many, it's a practice that requires a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of healing from past traumas, wounds from the past relationships, rejections, abandonment, negative past experiences, as well as our inner self-critic. Self-criticism. So that brings us to the next one. Self-love is not self-critical. The human brain, the way it's wired, it has a natural negativity bias, meaning we tend to focus more on the flaws and the negative and the mistakes than we do on our strengths and our successes. So it requires us to be very intentional, very mindful. Our inner critic can be so loud, constantly telling us that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not attractive enough. And this relentless negative self-talk, it can make self-love feel so hard and so out of reach because we're battling against our own thoughts and our own beliefs. Again, many of us carry wounds from our past experiences. That can make self-love a little bit harder to connect. It's a little bit harder to connect with yourself and connect with others. And it makes it difficult because they can try to alter our way of viewing ourselves and our way of viewing our reality, as well as it distorts our beliefs about ourselves. And these internalized beliefs, it can make it super hard to treat ourselves with grace, with kindness, and with compassion, especially if we've never received it from others in a healthy way. Self-love does not eliminate all of our insecurities. While self-love can decrease our self-doubt, it doesn't wipe it away completely. Given the right time, given the right place, and given the right circumstances, you'll find yourself being triggered right back to the old hurts and the unhealthy view of yourself. The key is learning how to manage and to respond to those feelings in a healthy way, without numbing, without avoiding, without giving away too much space for rejection to take root in your heart and your identity. The fear of rejection, whether it stems from childhood experiences, relationships, or societal expectations, rejection can deeply impact your ability to see yourself correctly, and it can impact how you choose to love yourself. And yes, it is a choice. When we've experienced rejection, we might choose to internalize it, believing that we're not worthy of love or of acceptance. This can lead to self-doubt, second-guessing yourself, not trusting yourself, and ultimately avoidance of being open and vulnerable in healthy relationships. Being honest with yourself, with all of your insecurities, will make it easier for you to connect with your true self, your true and authentic self. So instead of thinking that I'm not lovable because they, and insert they for whoever that is, whether they is your parents, whether they is your partner, ex-partner, your boss, friends, whoever they is. So thinking that I'm not lovable because they didn't know how to love me, shift your mindset and start thinking, I am lovable and I am worthy of a healthy and a safe love. Let's just be real. Self-love is not the same as self-care. While it may sound similar, many of these same words are used interchangeably, but self-love goes much deeper than self-care activities. Don't get me wrong, self-care is important. It's all about balance and proper perspective. It's all about creating space for self-respect, self-compassion, and self-worth beyond, way beyond just the acts of pampering yourself. Self-love does not require external validation, or it's not found in codependency. Many people believe that they'll love themselves once others recognize their worth, their achievements, their appearance, or external success. So they work more, they do more, and they try to be more. But true self-love, it comes from deep within, and it's not dependent at all on anything or anyone for approval or validation, because that's simply codependency. We are all wired for connection, that's no doubt. But in our need to connect, sometimes we seek out approval and acceptance. Sometimes we do this unconsciously, but we seek love, praise, and affirmation from others instead of creating space for it within ourselves, internally. While external validation can feel good, it only gives us a temporary high. It doesn't provide the long-term, the lasting fulfillment that comes from true self-love, that true self-love can truly give to you. In codependent relationships, we often put the needs of others way ahead of our own, believing that our value is somehow tied to what we do, to what we give, or how much we sacrifice. When we're in a codependent relationship, we're left feeling lost. We're left feeling empty because we're not getting others' approval. We're not getting others' validation. It will never be enough. This can become a barrier to prevent us from truly loving and fully nurturing ourselves. The truth is, we'll never be enough for others, but you can learn to be enough for you. Taking an honest look at what self-love is, it can help you to shed some light on what healthy self-love should look like. It can also help to reduce creating unrealistic expectations on yourself that only serve to hinder your personal and your professional growth, as well as it delays the path towards true and healthy self-love. So let's take a quick moment and just pause and check in again. Think about these barriers that we've talked about with self-love and how it shows up in your life. Are you overly self-critical? Do you find yourself comparing your life to others? What would it look like for you to let go of all those unrealistic expectations of yourself and truly focus on self-love? What would that look like? As you reflect on these barriers to self-love, what's coming up for you? What's hitting home for you? Pay attention to that. Give yourself permission to tune into that. That might be an opportunity for growth. Checking in with yourself. Are you always the giver in relationships? So giving your time, giving your energy, giving your finances, giving your heart, and getting very little return on your investment in the relationship. Are you the one that's always initiating calls, initiating texts, initiating when to meet up? Are you noticing that you're consistently placing others' needs above your own needs? Are you struggling with rejection, feeling like you're not enough, or that you're uncertain about your true identity? Finding ways to increase your awareness and recognizing any of these barriers around self-love, it's the first step towards overcoming them. I'll always say, you can't change something that you're not aware of. So take time to be mindful and increase your awareness. Now that we've taken some time to self-reflect, let's shift gears and focus on clarifying what true self-love is. At its core, self-love is an appreciation for yourself that grows from deep within, and it's consistently showing up for yourself. We do that through our actions, through honoring our feelings, our thoughts, and doing all the things that support our growth in areas such as physically, emotionally, socially, financially, nutritionally, and spiritually. Self-love, it allows us to nurture our own well-being, recognizing that our self-worth is inherent, meaning it's unconditional, meaning we don't have to earn it at all. It doesn't waver in the light of circumstances or in what we do or what we don't do. We are worthy simply because of who we are. Self-love is about creating space in the mundane moments of life and finding balance in the midst of the many transitions and the busy seasons of life. Self-love is about creating space for you. Self-love is knowing that you are worthy. You're worthy to take up space. Self-love is about taking up space and not feeling guilty for taking up space because you know that you matter and that you are important. Self-love is knowing that you deserve to have your needs met. Self-love is choosing to believe in yourself despite how you feel. Self-love is about trusting your heart and trusting your intuition. Self-love is the foundation and the core of all healthy relationships with others. So, if you truly desire healthy relationships with others, start with loving yourself first. You can't give to others what you don't have. If you don't know how to love yourself, there is no way, absolutely no way, that you can truly, deeply, and intimately love someone else. So take time to nurture your soul because you're worth it. Please, 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 please stop trying to be everything to everyone. To everything, there is balance. And balance is very important. Because if you're everything to everyone all the time, you're going to be left with just the leftovers, just the scraps, with nothing left to give to yourself. Trust the process and keep showing up for yourself every day, on the good days and the not so good days. Believe me, it all adds up in the end. I promise. Let's take a moment to talk about legacy. So, how would you define legacy? And I know you're probably simply thinking, what does legacy have to do with self-love? Well, keep leaning in, my friend. Sometimes we don't think about legacy until someone's dead. But let me invite you to consider that legacy is the sheer essence of what you leave behind when you leave a space, when you leave a connection with another human. What do you leave behind? Do you leave behind drama and a spirit of heaviness? Or do you leave behind an essence of joy, an essence of peace, life, and light? You don't have to wait until you get old to start to reflect on legacy. Legacy is a piece of self-love. Legacy is your authentic self. It's your truth. It's how you leave a space. It's how you love yourself. That's the essence of what you leave behind. You get to choose how others love you by how you choose to love yourself. My dear, the more that you tune into self-love, kind of like tuning into a radio station, the stronger your vibrational frequency of your truth and everything that you want to attract, it becomes clearer and more stronger. So take time to tune into your self-love. The stronger you tune into self-love, the stronger your intuition, the stronger your confidence, and the stronger your spirit will become. Remember, you can't give what you don't have. So that's why investing in self-love is so super important. Now, as we start to wrap up today, let's focus on what we can do so that we can nurture ourselves in our daily rhythms. So, what if you don't know where to start? What if you don't know how to self-love? You're welcome to reach out to me. You can check out my website at daringwell.com and click on the coaching tab and look at different ways that I can best support you on your journey to wellness and journey to self-love. And that's daringwell.com, clicking on the coaching tab. A good next step is to practice becoming more mindful. Just identifying that you have a need for growth. Awareness is key. By becoming more aware of your thoughts, especially the negative ones, you can begin to change your inner self-talk. When a self-critical thought arises, you can pause and check in with yourself. Would I say that to a loving friend? Most times the answer is probably no. Often we'll find that we're much kinder to others than we are to ourselves. Next, I encourage you to set healthy boundaries. Be realistic and recognize your limits and your emotional bandwidth. Honoring your needs, your time, and your energy, it's a powerful act of self-love. Practice saying no when it's necessary. Practice asking for help and being open to receive help. These are all great ways to learn to love yourself and to affirm what you're worth. Finally, make time for self-care. Make time for people, places, and all the things that are life-giving for you. So whether it's physical activities like exercise or yoga, or whether it's choosing to drink more water and eat in a healthy way, whether it's engaging in a skincare routine, or choosing to nourish your emotional and your spiritual wellness through journaling or through meditation. All these are different examples of healthy habits of engaging in self-care practices that can help to build your self-love over time. Remember, self-love is not a destination, but it's a practice that grows with being more intentional, more mindful, and authentic with how you choose to show up for yourself. This week, how will you choose to focus on self-love? Will you choose to nurture your mind? Will you choose to nurture your body or your spirit? What are some of the steps that you're going to take so that you can focus on self-love? What are those things you're going to do this week so that you can get started? The goal of self-love is to cultivate a deep sense of inner acceptance, compassion, and respect for yourself. At its core, self-love is about building a healthy and a nurturing relationship with yourself that empowers you to live authentically, to make choices that are aligned with your true needs, and to experience a greater sense of well-being. Choose to love yourself. Choose to break free from patterns or unhealthy relationships or situations that no longer serve you. I encourage you to stay consistent and to put in the work. And with some patience and with some grace and all of the right support, self-love can grow over time, just like a beautiful butterfly. My friend, life is too short. It's too short not to be happy. So do more of what brings you joy. As we wrap up today's episode, I want you to remember that self-love, it's just a journey. It's not a destination. And it's not a one and done event. It's about consistently showing up for yourself and loving yourself every day. And it's also about being patient and kind to yourself. As you start to shed the ideas of what self-love is not and start to make space for self-love, you're going to find that you're going to become more stronger, happier, healthier, and more empowered so that you can love others well. All right, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Daring Well podcast. I hope that you walk away with feeling more inspired to embrace self-love, not just in the moments of joy, but in the moments where it feels most hardest. Remember, you are worthy of rest. You are worthy of happiness. You are worthy of having all of your needs met. And you are worthy of love. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Daring Well podcast. Wishing you a fabulous day, my dear. Until next time, keep living, keep loving, and keep daring well. Take care, my dear. God bless. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of the Daring Well podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to continue exploring the world of holistic wellness, be sure to subscribe to the Daring Well podcast so you never miss an episode filled with transformative conversations and actionable advice. Thank you again for being part of the Daring Well podcast community. Together, let's dare to live well in mind, body, and spirit.